Welcome to the Wiser Talk, produced by Wiser Software Solutions, the premier low-code company of India. Our host today is Abhinanda Ghosh, a veteran of the financial services sector in India with over 30 years of experience. He culminated his service career as the CFO, CIO, and CISO of a public sector general insurance company. Mr. Ghosh is a low-code evangelist and is presently an advisor to WiserGos.
Good morning, everyone, to a winter morning in the city of joy, Kolkata. I am back with another episode of the Wiser Talk. And my guest today is Balaji TK. Balaji, of course, is from the warmer climes of Chennai. So I'm sure he'll bring some warmth into our tete-a-tete today. Balaji is a techie with more qualifications than he can possibly put on his business card. He, of course, did his basic master's in computer applications from Bharathidasan University in Tamil Nadu. But his certifications from premium institutions across the country, like IIT Kanpur, IIM Bangalore, ISB Hyderabad, and many other universities and institutions are far too many to count. His trophy cabinet is full of awards and certificates from various industry fora during the course of his digital transformation journey. He is the council member of the FDPPI, that is the Foundation of the Data Protection Professionals of India. In the course of his illustrious career, Balaji has mentored and guided many new age companies through their Fintech transformation programs, particularly in the BFSI, retail, and manufacturing sectors. Currently, he is heading a fintech company based out of Chennai as the head office, but which has its footprints in the rural areas of Tamil Nadu. Balaji is a fitness fanatic and a cycling enthusiast, and I respect him even more for his deep spirituality, which defines his personality and character. Welcome, Balaji. It's good to see you after a long time. So, Balaji,
hi,
you're absolutely fine, absolutely fine. I want to start with this, that, you know, your CV, which is so rich, it tells us that you work in the financial world. But essentially, and from background point of view, you are a techie. Finance, techie. So tell me, what label or what title or maybe label would best describe you in your profession?
Thank you, Abhinanda. Thank you. Nice to connect with you. If you ask the label or a title, it is quite difficult to box some kind of a profession, some kind of a label. But
yeah, that's it.
If you want to fix it for the where do you fit in rightly, I consider myself as a business enabler, where my specialization is a business transformation journey. As a leader, I've gone through multiple domains, be it a manufacturing, business process, or retail.
Okay.
And my forte is presently with the fintech domain right now, where I drive technology, drive business transformation.
Okay, fintech.
Yeah.
Okay, see, a layman thinks of fintech, in very simplistic terms. That is a combination of the two terms, fin as in finance and tech as in technology. But as an expert in the field, can you break it down for us? with a sharper focus. Means, how do you define fintech? What is fintech?
Great. Very nice, interesting for a layman. What is that? But before getting into that, just a couple of points. Why fintech is getting so special? It's almost a $300 billion domain in 2022. And in the globe, whatever funding happens, almost 50% of funding goes to the fintech, almost 50%.
Oh,
so
is that so? I mean, you were saying that fintech almost dominates the world.
Yes, it's
world of
50%.
Business over. Huh?
Yeah, it's almost 50%. Suppose the data.
Goodness, I mean, that is news to me. That's news to me. Yeah, please carry on.
Because it's all the actual data. And the growth is almost 30% CAGR. It's growing year on year. So that's why I think it's attracting a lot many people for this fintech space. So that's why the process is happening there in the fintech domain. And
I see.
For a layman, what is that? Why fintechs are so special? Okay. We need to understand where fintech can able to fit in before that getting into the company's technologies, everything. Okay.
Okay.
So there are various sectors where as a fintech innovations keeps happening, and I can broadly classify them in some of this domain. For example, fintech innovations, I'll just classify in 10 areas. First area where I can see a lot of use cases happening is a kind of alternative scoring mechanisms. So this is the area where a lot of fintechs are coming and generating a lot many ecosystems. And second, very interesting use case where this fintech is innovating is alternative insurance underwriting. This is the second area I see where fintech plays a dominance here. The third area, as the data is a new oil, people play around with the data. That's the third fintech domain, which is a transaction delivery model. Fourth, obviously, is a peer-to-peer lending, where they connect the group of people where the lending happens in the platform. Fifth is
what was that again? Peer-to-peer?
Peer-to-peer lending. It's whenever the individual wants to borrow the money, okay, and there's a business people there, the investors are there, where they create a platform where they come and put in the money, where I need a money, I borrow it through a platform. It's a peer-to-peer platform. Okay.
Yeah.
Example, kind of funding circle, that kind of domains. And the other very interesting use case is a small ticket loans. What happens for the small ticket loans? Normally, they don't want to go to underwriter, do underwriting, credit underwriting, spend money for initial, like whenever a loan is happening, there's a processing fees applicable. But to bring down the processing, because my loan itself is a small ticket loan, I need only 5,000. What's the point in putting a processing fee for it? Correct. So to reduce the
that's there. Yes.
And to reduce the cycling, and then there's a small ticket loan, which is called as a buy now pay later. Okay, this is one area where I see a lot of fintech companies are coming up. The other very, very interesting, and there's a large use case happening, is a payment gateway. There's a huge company who is doing a payment gateway, which is called
At least that is one term which is familiar with us, and we are dealing with it every day of our lives. Yes, good or bad. Good or bad, yeah.
And then the seventh one where I see a lot of fintech coming into place, a digital wallet. Even be, for example, Paytm to Google, where they do have a digital wallet where people transfer the money from them. So this is the seventh use case of innovation I see in a fintech space. And the eighth one where I see is asset management, where people buy a stock through mutual fund or through a direct market, everything, where asset management keeps happening. So there is a lot of companies coming up with this asset management space. And ninth, very, very interesting, which is a completely a kind of a digital banking, where they call it a neo banking also, which is a bankless branch where there is no physical branch will be there, only mobile is a branch. So this is the ninth area of innovation where I see digital banking takes.
But this in the Indian context, would you say that this has come in a big way?
Very big, very big. A lot of startups are there in this neo banking space, digital banks. So certainly it's coming up a very big, certainly.
Okay.
I think the next 4 to 5 years, it will be in a matured market. We'll be there in the matured market.
Now here, again, this brings me to an interesting thought that this kind of banking, mobile banking, without physical banking and all, I would imagine that for anybody to play in the banking market, he would need to have the RBI permission, RBI license, and so on and so forth. But is that the case with these banks, these virtual banks?
Very interesting one. Like if you see, there are various regulators in India. RBI is one of the regulator which controls the finance part of it, and there is SEBI, and there is IRDA for the insurance domain. So regulators are there for each domain. But when it comes to banking and financial domain, RBI is a very strong regulator. They have excellent hold on what is happening in Indian domain. They define the process, they define the policies. But when it comes to fintech, bank comes under the purview of RBI.
RBI, yes.
Yeah. NBFC comes under the purview of RBI. Whereas certain fintechs, be it a kind of a blockchain or some kind of other technologies where it is coming, or kind of a new banking is coming, RBI tries to give a lot of guidelines for this. Still, they don't come under the purview of RBI. There are a lot of fintech who helps in digital lending, where banks the lending, but this fintech company supports the lending with various automatic tool engines, credit tool engines, AI algorithm, ML algorithm. There are a lot of fintech plays. All this fintech plays doesn't come under RBI guideline, but there is a pure play banking or NBFC company comes under RBI guidelines.
Correct.
They regulate it. But what happens once the transaction happens, once a lot of financial things are involved, RBI comes with a clear guidance what this company needs to adapt. So I think regulators are playing a very good part in helping the economy to grow. They come at the right stage and give the right.
No. That part is that I do agree that they are regulating various financial transactions, movement of finance, etc. That's fine. That's agreed. What I'm saying is, if something is a virtual mobile app based banking activity per se, then would the RBI really be able to control it? Would it be under the wings of RBI?
Certainly, if it comes under a banking domain, it will be under the wings of RBI. If you operate under a bank name, it will be under the wings of RBI, no doubt in that. Okay, that's what, wherever the money is involved in a financial transaction, okay, I'm lending money or I'm doing a deposit. So all this comes under the purview of RBI. Guidelines will be there. They need to do the regulatory guidelines. So I think all this virtual banking also at some point of time will come to the guidelines. Now, since it's in an innovation stage, all this neo banking, but that will come to the guidelines certainly.
Okay. Well, that's interesting, and it is also interesting for all the viewers here, because then I would imagine that this is going to be a new convenience, that you're simply doing banking from home. But this may also pose its own risks and unregulated space. With, as I can see it, I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, but as I can see it, with a very limited RBI control. And this could pose a risk or a threat to the customers of this kind of banking activity. Okay, and I also suppose that the insurance companies would be a big fintech entity, right?
Exactly. There is one more thing which I want to mention is the digital insurance. There is also a lot of fintech domains are coming up, certainly.
Yeah. Yes.
These are the 10 broad areas I can able to define where fintech plays a very, very major role.
Okay. Yeah. And one more thing, the next thing that we can get on to is that you were talking of fintech activities vis-a-vis fintech companies.
Okay.
The examples which you gave were of fintech entities or companies, like as you said, a peer-to-peer lending company, or an insurance company or a banking company.
Okay.
But what are the fintech activities? What kind of, can you give me an example of a particular kind of transaction or an activity which would qualify as a fintech activity? Maybe not in a fintech company, maybe in some other company, but their activity can qualify as a fintech activity, which would require the involvement of a fintech expert like you.
Good. Thank you. Very interesting. If you ask me one company where I can able to tell it, I am not naming the company, but I'll just name the business model.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
What happen, normally bank or a finance company needs to do the credit underwriting to for turnaround time. Those days, what happen if I apply for a loan, a home loan or a car loan or a bike loan?
Yes. Yes.
Multiple weeks to know what is my status. But right now it is like this: if you walk into any of this place to buy a product, be it a consumer durable, be it any vehicle, immediately there's a financier is available. I can call the financier. Once I just give my basic KYC information, within few seconds, I can able to get my loan immediately, and my money gets transferred automatically. So they came to that kind of a business model. So there's a lot of underlying things are began in it.
Like?
That's what I'll tell you. Like, for example, if I just put on my KYC detail, okay, I can able to know whether first time I'm a borrower or I already borrowed, whether my buying behavior is there, credit behavior is there, based on the decision happens. If I'm a first time borrower, my data will not be available with any of the credit.
Yeah.
So here what a lot of fintech plays a role saying, fine, he's a first time borrower, but based off his social profiling, you can able to lend him. So they give some kind of a scoring to every individual. So certain company does it. And certain
these are those credit scoring companies that you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, there are credit scoring companies. There are 4 companies in India. Okay, bureaus are they called as credit bureaus. But if I'm first time I'm borrowing money, first time I'm borrowing. Okay, so that means my data will not be available with these 4 companies.
Okay.
So here this companies helps us where they give us score, best of the score, I can able to fund them immediately. Second thing is, suppose I put a KYC, suppose I get Aadhaar or a PAN, immediately I know every single information. So there are fintech companies plays this key role where you give me this information, they will collect to the various ecosystem. For example, if I give a gas bill, or if I give an electricity bill, if I give any KYC information, if I give vehicle registration number, they tie up with the various government regulatory bodies. They give me every single data and a click of a button. Okay, this helps in the entire decision-making process. So we not wait for weeks together or hours together. In just a fraction of a second, we can able to take all the things immediately.
And which also means that, if I'm correct, that my loan taken from, let's say, one bank or one NBFC will show up to the other banks and other NBFCs. The status of my loan, my payment history, and my credit worthiness in one bank will show up to the others also.
Exactly. What is happening is like this. In India, the regulatory has told whenever anybody borrows some money, okay, lending happens, immediately this data is available with the credit bureau. So the buying and the repayment of that individual also need to get reported there. Okay. So the very strict guidance is there where month on month, every finance, like banking finance company, BFSI, need to report this data to the credit bureaus. Okay. So by querying the credit bureau, we can able to know the credit worthiness of the individual. But what happens, there is also best practices being followed. They're not named the bank. Certain things follows, like we can't be able to get much of the information, but outliner will be available, the credit worthiness.
Okay, well, wow.
Once again, for querying this, there's a cost for it. So there's alternative mechanisms also available where a lot of new age banking tries to adapt that methodology. Like, for example, I'm first time coming and want a loan. My data is not available. So this case helps us in quick decision making.
Wow.
Like our alternative insurance, since you are from insurance domain, you know much about it. There is a lot of alternative insurance underwriting keeps happening. For example, no two insurance are same. Okay, so based on the individual profiling, like whether it's like what kind of social profiling is that, the insurance is defined.
No, but the interesting thing which I am I'm noticing here is that in the insurance companies or insurance domain, each company keeps all this profiling data to itself and does not share it with its competitors. But from what you were saying, especially the credit score part, it is across all the banks and all the financial institutions. A loan taken by me from, say, State Bank of India, what is my repayment history and all, can be seen by Bank of India, who is my competitor.
No, suppose you want to apply a loan, that's not a competitor.
Suppose he applies for a loan.
Only when you go and borrow, they will query it. Otherwise, there is no point in querying that.
I agree with that. Yeah. Wow, that's a lot on the plate. And I think it will take a little time to digest it all. So shall we take a break here?
It's okay. Done. Good. Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Very nice. And I think we touched upon various quite interesting to chat with you. Sure. We can take a break. Yeah.
Right.